Welcome guys to another episode of Bed Wars. You read the title of this video. We're going to be talking about vampires, and I'd like to start with some ground rules of what a vampire is. A vampire is someone who sucks blood, doesn't like the sun because it hurts them, can infect other people and turn them into a vampire or a ghoul, and is weak to silver. I'm pretty sure I already mentioned that they're weak to sunlight. We're not going to do the cross thing, because that's not even all vampires, and I know that silver's in it. What? Okay. Random guy in chat. Whatever. So anyways, that's our ground rules, is it has to be weak to sunlight, it has to be weak to silver, it has to drink blood, it has to have fangs. I think I forgot to mention that one. Whatever. So it has to have fangs, and preferably be aggressive while still human, you know? So what I hear is a description of a virus, and it reminds me a little bit of rabies, and this is kind of how it started for me. I was thinking about, you know, the usual things like rabies, don't judge me, man, and epidermis, I think is what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. My Latin is not good enough for that, man. Good news is lots of those things are just Latin, so if you're good enough at Latin, you can understand a lot of terms much more quickly and just guess what they mean, even. Unfortunately for me, I'm not that smart. Yeah, you have no lag. I'm sure he's having a good time. Alright. Hello, red player. You're gonna invade yellow, and we're gonna avoid the holes. And I guess this is also a perfect time for it to be Halloween-ish. We're at the beginning of October, but you know what? Whatever. That is not good for me. At all. I can't turn my screen! Nerd. Alright. Hi, yellow! I have half health! This is gonna be fun. There we go. Also, my cord is gonna be, like, hitting the table, so every time I move my right arm, you guys just get to hear that obnoxious sound of what is my cord. Denied. Alright. Easy. That man just got all his dreams broken. Yeah, go that way. It's gonna help you. I made a fort, you fool. But anyways, now that we have the ground rules and a little bit of the background, we're gonna think about how can we make a virus that turns people into vampires. And the first thing I'm thinking is a bacteria virus. Because you see, bacteria are weak to silver. Now, they're not that weak to silver. But what we can say is copper. We're going to make this not weak to copper. And you might be going, Smokey, I don't even know what you're talking about. You see, silver hurts viruses because of positive ions or something like that. And copper has the exact same thing. So I'm told. I didn't really learn anything about that in chemistry, so we're going off of limited knowledge, but you know I'm an expert, obviously, because, you know, I make Minecraft videos. That's how you know you can trust me. Alright, anyway, so what we're going to say is this copper is inhibited by the bacteria, specifically the vampire virus's bacteria. It's not exactly a bacteria, but we're going to say it has the same weaknesses. Right? It's using the same kind of strategies, but it's still a bit different. So maybe penicillin is not strong against this? I don't know. But if we say it goes for copper, it really tries to bring copper in. So this means it's actually trying to get silver. It's trying to bring silver in, and it bonds to it. It bonds specifically to silver because it thinks it's copper, because they don't know the difference. Silver and copper, same thing. So it starts to bond to silver. And if you don't know, when two things bond, it makes, you're gone, heat. When two atoms form a molecule, heat is produced as the byproduct. This is awkward. Alright, anyway, so if that silver chain is running through a bunch of bacteria, it would, I'm just going to refer to it as the vampire virus actually instead of bacteria. It would cause a lot of heat, so getting a bunch of silver in you as a vampire would kind of suck. What are you doing, Red? You make my life so much more exciting, Red. No. Get denied. Get absolutely denied, sir. Yeah. That's why I thought. Go to the side where I can hit you off. Thank you. Very much so appreciated. Anyway, so you can now say that the vampire is weak to silver. Check one. But why does it want the copper? Well, I say this vampire virus, it infects other viruses that are similar to it. Alright, so here's the idea. It bonds to the copper. It forms a bond to copper. Why? Well, if it sends that copper to be like a Trojan horse to other bacteria, which there's a lot of bacteria on, say, your teeth and your gut, well, it would have like a trump card against all of them. So it wants to send... Huh? Huh? What? Okay. Yeah, you just go over to me, alright? Yeah, no. No thanks. I'm just gonna do this. Yeah. Yeah, you just go up that staircase I made for you. Yeah, you just go up that staircase I made for you. You're welcome. Enjoy it. Hello! Yay, we get to have so much fun together. How is the map always chandelier? What? Okay, we're gonna call this a good luck charm. Anyways, so... yes, it's gonna send copper into other things. And then it has a DNA packet, so that it tries to convert other cells into the vampire virus. Although I don't think it's gonna be one-to-one, so we're gonna call these ghoul variants. Yes. These ones, they are not gonna have the same copper properties. They're gonna be weak-ish to silver, but they're not going to be sending copper packets to corrupt other things. So no, they're just gonna go the old-fashioned mitosis route for spreading the disease. Although that's not how disease is spread, because, you know, this isn't a traditional virus. It's not going into a cell, deciding to make it its home, and then explode it with a bunch of viruses spewing forth. No, it's just going to corrupt other cells. Yeah, it's like a virus that sends out other viruses to do the dirty work. Yeah, I'm sure that's definitely possible, whatever. Anyway, so these ghoul ones, they're just gonna have to spread much more slowly, but they also are gonna have calcium expended. Why? Well, we want them to have teeth. Remember, one of our conditions is that they have fangs. So, it's just going to... Hi, Red. I think you might be a bit of a threat. We're going to go after Red. Yeah, we're going to go after Red. Oh my god, that was a bad idea. Oh my god. You know what? I don't think that went very well. I think Red noticed me. I took slightly too long to do anything there. Cool. Cool. This went very well for me. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. I missed. No. Huh? I thought I got that first hit. What? I'm not angry at all. I can hit him. That is slightly awkward. I missed my pearl. This is gonna be a fun fight. Oh, there he is, actually. Oh, there he is. We win these! Oh, I'm taking a break. Ah, that would explain why that fight was so hard. He's 25th on the leaderboard. So anyways, that's my idea of like how this virus spreads is it corrupts other cells by the power of copper. Yes, that's how it works. But it's also gonna generate calcium, as we talked about, and it's also gonna affect the bacteria in your gut. It's gonna tell those bacteria, hey, have more of the ones that crave more fatty type things like milk, so they can get more calcium in your diet. Because it's gonna want you to have sharper teeth to increase your ability to bite. Right? It wants you to have a stronger bite. This thing wants you to do better, so it does better. Alright, that's my idea. It's the virus that wants you to do better. Because it's not taking over your cells. No. It wants you. Right? It's using all the other things so that it can have extra resources to grow. Because it's not a virus in the regular sense, no. It's more like a symbiotic relationship, except you're working for it. It's going to make you aggressive, so it's going to put a bunch of stuff in your brain, affecting stuff like your amygdala. I'm pretty sure that's the part of the brain that controls fear and aggression. I could be mistaken, but that's what I remember it doing. I know it's not the optical nerve. Wait, that's part of the eye. I'm smart. Optical lobe. So smart. Back of the brain right there. I'm 90% sure it's not that. 99% sure, we'll say. Yellow doesn't even have a bed. It's just purple here, so I'm going to go after purple. Hello. Would you like to, play video games? I'm sure you would, but you don't get to. That was clean. Alright, so anyways. And then the ghoul one, if someone is infected with the ghoul one, I think it would just be interesting if, where did the yellow player go? Where's yellow? This is gonna haunt me. Oh, there they are. With their 10,000 ping. Oh, they get to vanish. Nope. Denied. Okay. Anyway, so the ghoul one would probably just be like, hey, this vampire one is the much more important one, right? It wants to feed the vampire's power. And a ghoul one, it's just explaining from mitosis. It's not taking over other cells. So what does it do? Well, it tries to infect the person much more aggressively. It tries to numb out a lot of parts of the brain. Almost without caution, just destruction. This makes it harder for the person to fight the virus. Alright, so it's just making sure this person is going to be weak against it and susceptible to the vampire's control. The ghouls will want to do what the vampires do. You see, the ghouls are essentially slaves, alright? Because I think that's also like a little bit of the lore of vampires, right? They control over ghouls. So the ghouls are much more aggressive. They're not going to be as susceptible to silver because, well, they don't have that same copper thing, but this is a ghoul, not a vampire anyway. So anyways, the vampire though, we wanted to infect the bloodstream. Why? Because it would be cool. And to help turn cells, well, not turn cells, try to inhibit other cells rather than just build on top of the person. It wants the resources of this person after all, right? So it's going to build on top of people's cells. Nah. I wanted to do a little bit of a sprint jump here. You're not as good as you think you are, sir. He wanted to do that cool strat he sees other people do, yet he didn't know how it works. Sucks to be him. This is gonna be painful. No! Okay. You saw nothing. I thought the bed was there. I was wrong. Alright, so anyways. Eventually, this is going to be like, okay, we're going to have it affect the muscle tissue. Why? Because vampires, I see them as being pretty strong, and we haven't quite gone to the part where sunlight affects them. So we're going to try and make the tissue of the person spread over with another variant of the virus. Now, you ever seen a harvester ant? Harvester ants... Denied. Yes! Oh, yes, that was harder than I expected it to be. Anyways, it just takes a pheromone for them to change. And so this virus, it just takes a certain chemical inside of it to change what type of, what its objective is. In other words, going to be, yeah, I'm going to just run past you and get your stuff. So that you have to run to me. Okay, thank you. I need to know that phone. Very necessary to know I'm on 50% battery. But anyways, it's going to affect the tissue. And it's going to say, hey, I want this to be strong. But first, for the muscle tissue, it's going to try and tear it apart some. So temporarily, this person's going to be weak. Why is it tearing it apart? Well, we want it to be stronger later. Basically, what it's trying to do is trick your body into thinking it did the most hardcore workout it's ever done its whole life. It's trying to trick you into saying, you did the most insane workout ever. Your muscles are shredded, and now it's helping you build them, right? It's only going to do this once you've feeded off enough things, though, right? It's looking at the resources and going, yeah, we have enough stuff here. It's time to get shredded. So, temporarily, you're going to find a dark place to go because you're going to be in the sunlight. Yes, it's very reminiscent of the vampires. This is my goal. During this transformation stage, where you start to become much, much stronger, it'll build muscle for the person, and it'll also create more of a coating on their skin. So basically, this thing is going to be extra we're just going to say, for basically no reason, that this virus is extra sensitive to UV light, like extremely. It just was not meant for UV light. The sun, ouch. To the point where a person has a black light shined at them and it's not going to feel good. That's how much we're talking that the sun is going to suck for them. Why? There isn't really much of a reason why it's going to be weak to UV light, but some things in life just have random weaknesses that make no sense at all to have. They just have them. And there's not enough reason for why. So anyways, we're going to say it's just weak to UV light because it is. No reason given. Alright. Okay, good. He's not the one who died. That would have sucked for me. And so is your bed. Alright, I'm just going to get both of these kills. Never mind, I'm going to get one of the kills. Alright, so anyways, it's extra weak to UV light. So you put your hand in the sun and it's just going to just start turning pinker. And within a minute, you're going to see basically bubbles form over your hand with this virus, as it's just too much for the virus to handle. After all, it's on the surface of your skin because it wanted to make your skin stronger. This virus wants you to destroy the food chain. It doesn't care about everyone else, it just wants you to prevail. And so ghouls will feed into this as well. And thanks for revealing where your bed is. I very much so appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I thought I was going to fall off with him. I was wrong. That skeleton's just freely walking now. Okay. Anyways, that's all I have to say is the vampires, this is how they get their strength. They become weak to sunlight. We discovered it. Yeah, we can make them weak to sunlight. We can make them weak to silver. And also, because of all the copper, they're probably going to bleed yellow. I don't know if I already mentioned that. And enough copper would make them bleed green. So truly monster blood. That doesn't feel like the lore of vampires, but I just find it funny. You know, because of all the copper, which is what we're using for their strength. Which I guess would mean that it wants you to have extra copper, and also to replace the blood that's pretty much being overrun, it's going to want you to drink even more blood. Not just to infect other people, but because you're running too low on blood. So yeah, basically that is how vampires would work. That's my idea of how vampires would work, at least, is it is a virus that doesn't work like any other virus. It just, at least that I know of, it actually wants you to become stronger and destroy everything else. So it is not a pack animal, but it does turn other things into pack animals. It's willing to sacrifice the ghouls to keep the vampire, which has the stronger genes anyways. It has the stronger variant. So it wants to keep the vampire alive, you know, it has that whole cult-like thing. So I say that is a very good way of having a vampire exist. It's not weak to religion. Sorry. I couldn't figure that one out. Oh gosh, it's God. No, it's a cross. It's dead. Yeah, I couldn't figure that one out, so didn't happen. It's just a vampire that can spread the virus. It's weak to light and everything. It can still be pretty smart if it wants to, and it's pretty strong. It doesn't turn into a bat, and I didn't think about hearing. I didn't think about making their hearing really good, so there's that. Sorry. I guess a more mutated version, if the virus kept going, would make it more vampire monster-like. But it wouldn't look very human anymore, so that's all I have to say is that's my idea of vampires. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe. Bye.